So, Sunny, thank you very much for joining the Ask Kavi Arya show, where we introduce internet moguls from all over the world to people all over the world.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
You know what? Like I was mentioning earlier on, that Asia, a lot of people are discovering people who are doing YouTube marketing and internet marketing correctly for the first time through shows like these. There are very, very few shows like these right now. It's our endeavor to bring on more people who've done it, who actually proved it, who walked the talk like yourselves, and it's possible to show that young people like yourself have invested, being consistent and being patient, and sort of made it possible for everybody to have a passive income or a full-time business like yours, training, coaching, and consulting. So tell us how the journey has been so far.
I mean, it's been amazing. It's been a long journey, and I think a lot of the times it's easy to look at people in the space and think it just happened kind of overnight, as cliche as that sounds. But I've actually been at this for almost a decade now. So my first job was in broadcasting. I was a journalist, and I kind of always thought that's what I wanted to do. So I went into journalism. I reported at the Olympics when they were in Vancouver. And I kind of thought this was it. I had made it. Awesome. I'm on the right track in my career. But it didn't really feel right in my gut. And I knew that I wanted to be able to create something on my own terms. And so I didn't really know what that was going to look like, but the day I was driving home from the Olympics, I decided to start my first business, which was an online magazine. And I actually was going door to door in Vancouver selling advertising space on the magazine, and had a team of about 10 writers that were contributing. And we grew the magazine quite a bit within 1 year. And it really taught me so much about building a business truly with social media and also video marketing, because we didn't have a budget to be spending on, getting our name out there in any other way. So I learned Twitter from scratch. I learned Facebook from scratch, and just got it out there using those tools, and YouTube as well. YouTube actually played a big part in it. So as I built it, I fell in love with the online space. I fell in love with building businesses and brands using these organic methods. And from there, I started to get recognized for what I was doing with this business that I had started and how big I was building the brand. And I had a bunch of different companies from all over the place reach out to me and ask if I could do their social media for them and do their marketing for them. So it kind of organically built my second business, I guess, which was a consultancy. So I worked with companies in every space: tech, retail, apps, authors, entrepreneurs, incubators. It was kind of all over the map, real estate, and really honed in on my skill set, and just got my head down for about 4 or 5 years, and just worked with my clients and didn't talk about what I did, and stayed behind the scenes, and was perfectly happy with that. And then one day I was so inundated with clients. I was so overwhelmed with the amount of clients that I had. And I was a one-woman show. So I was like, I can't keep answering my clients' questions on the phone. I can't keep having meetings with them face-to-face, because it's cutting into my time that I'm able to actually work on their stuff. So I decided to sit down and film a video, a tutorial, so that I could answer a bunch of their questions at once, because they were all asking me about live streaming and why they should be using it in their business. So I was like, okay, I'll make a tutorial on like how to use Periscope for your business and how to leverage it and everything else. So I made the tutorial, didn't have any subscribers really on YouTube at the time, wasn't really active on it, wasn't really using it. So I sent the video just to my clients. And then the next thing I knew, I had 1,000 views in the first day. And then I had, now I have like 80,000 views on that video. So I was very confused for a minute. I was confused as to where these views were coming from because I didn't have a subscriber base, and they were coming from search, which is the beautiful thing about YouTube. So from there, I used YouTube every single week for a year, and I posted a new video every single week for a year. And my channel grew from scratch to 50,000 subscribers in 1 year and about 3 million views. And now we just passed 100,000, which is really exciting. And we're at 6 million views. So it's crazy what that will do for your business. And I think it's important to understand, like, if there's people listening that are entrepreneurs or wanting to start a business, what would happen if all of a sudden 3 million people knew about what you do and your expertise? It changes everything. So the demand for my business increased tenfold. I was able to bring on a team. I was able to scale the business. I went from doing consulting and one-on-one work with clients to creating online educational products for entrepreneurs so that I could teach them my methods and be able to serve a larger audience and impact people all over the world instead of just working with people one-to-one. Right. So it's really changed everything for me. I doubled I doubled my revenue in the first year that I started using YouTube without spending a dime on advertising. Wow. And I also I think it was 100x. Yeah, I 100x my subscriber base as well.
Love. Tell me, this is an incredible story. Doing this, what did you tell yourself? That I'm at zero right now, and so the first video obviously inspired you to keep going because you had 1,000.
Totally.
So, but then you told yourself that I'm going to make a video every day, 52 videos at the end of this year, and then look back and see where I'm at. What were the milestones that kept pushing you, and how did you encourage yourself to keep going?
Truly, and this is going to sound so cheesy, but truly I was inspired to keep going. I didn't have any goal in mind. I didn't have like the goal of building a business with YouTube. I didn't, excuse me, I didn't have the goal of building this big brand. What I just realized and tapped into with that first video was that there wasn't a lot of great information out there about how to use social media for entrepreneurs and for small business owners. And when you're running a smaller business, you don't necessarily have the budget to go and hire somebody to do it for you. So you have to learn. So I realized there was such a huge need, and I just really enjoyed educating people, and it made me feel really good. And that's kind of like the selfish part of it. I was like, I like teaching people, and I like the fact that people are saying, oh my gosh, no one's ever explained it like this before. I totally get it now. So I kind of live for those light bulb moments. And if you look back at my first, I don't know, like probably 10 videos on YouTube, the first 10 weeks, I was really just like figuring it out as I went. And I was filming these basically mini courses for people and just posting them completely for free because I wasn't even thinking about it from the business side. My business was doing great. I had clients consistently. I had more work than I knew what to do with. So I was like, I'm just going to use this to educate people. And that eventually turned into building this really big customer base because people were seeing my videos and wanting to work with me because I was already educating them in a free forum. So I didn't have a motivation of like, I need to hit 100,000 subscribers. I need to hit 50,000 subscribers. And I talk about this a lot. I literally just took it one step at a time and slowly but surely realized, whoa, this is a huge tool for building my list. I built the majority of my list organically. Obviously we've done paid advertising at this point, but the majority of my list in my first year, I built completely organically to thousands and thousands of people using YouTube. And I also realized it was a huge opportunity to be able to scale the business because all these people were learning about us and wanting to work with my team. So that allowed us to create these online courses, which we could sell, to thousands of people all over the world. And we now have students and clients in India, in Africa, in the States, in Europe, in Asia. They're everywhere. So it's been a really incredible tool for me.
So tell me, so you basically were having fun with it, and that's what kept you going. And
yeah, I think it was the service aspect of it. Yeah, it was the service aspect of it and realizing that I was helping people. That's what made me find it fun.
Right. So it gave you purpose to keep going.
Totally.
Tell me, just post. So my next two questions are: just posting videos regularly on YouTube, is that enough, or there's a science behind it? I mean,
there's a science behind it.
You have to optimize your keywords. You have to do your metas, and so tell us something about that.
There is a serious science behind it. And that's why one of my courses, it's called YouTube for Bosses, and it's a 4-hour crash course on how to rank on the first page of YouTube, because that's the goal. Because if you think about your own search habits, if you are searching for an answer to a question or a solution to a problem on Google, you generally don't go past the first page.
Sure.
So you want your video and your content to be in that first page so that you're getting the most traffic possible. In order to do that, there's a whole slew of things that you need to be doing. And there's a lot of people in the YouTube space that are absolute veterans that I have such mad respect for. And I've been really fortunate to be able to outrank a few of them and to compete on a certain level. I don't really see it as competition, but to be able to compete with them, being a newbie, like not being on the platform for very long. And I do attribute that to the fact that I've come up with my own method of being able to rank. So yes, there's the optimization. Yes, there's the keywords, and all of that stuff's really important. But the other part of it is that you have a community who supports your every video. So it's almost like an unfair advantage that you have this built-in community every time you post a video who's going to like, comment, and share, which tells Google and YouTube this must be quality content, so we should rank it higher. So mine is kind of really a mix of the optimization, the keywords, and then leveraging all of your other platforms to give you that unfair advantage to ranking higher and getting that ongoing evergreen traffic.
Okay, so if you have an email list, you would send them links to your YouTube videos, and would you also encourage them to watch, have a contest at the end of it, or how do you get them engaged?
No, it's just completely organic. I think for me, it's just value. And that's why I always say when people are like, how do I grow on YouTube faster and whatever else, you have to really look at your motives behind it and why you're doing it and what your why is. And for me, it was that I wanted to help people. I wanted to educate people so that this whole world of social media marketing, video marketing, online business was easier for them, because there's a lot of secrecy in those spaces where people aren't sharing a lot of information because they just want people to pay. But what I've learned, and this is something that one of my first mentors in business ever told me, is that generosity equals abundance. And so the more that you give to people, the more they're going to be loyal to you, the more you're going to build a community of customers, and the more they're going to want to go to you whenever they need to invest in anything for their business. So educating people is the key to growing on YouTube, truly, and figuring out what it is that you can do to help your audience. And if you're helping your audience in some way, they're going to watch, they're going to subscribe, and they're going to come back every single week.
Perfect. I love that. So simple, but sometimes yet so difficult to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with the emails that I send an email every week when I post a new video. So send it out every Tuesday. And when I send those emails, there's no pitch. There's nothing. Yeah. And I did that for like 6 months because I wasn't anticipating on using it for any business purposes. I generally was just leading with like from a place of service. And I still do that every week. I still send out these emails just strictly adding value. And it's the whole Gary Vaynerchuk idea of like jab, 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 right hook. So I'm constantly jabbing and giving value without any sort of pitch, without any kind of ask. And then eventually when I do have something to sell, I've been really fortunate to have this community of people who already know, like, and trust me, and I'm not having to break the bank on advertising spend because I have an organic audience that's built in.
Love it. So tell me, when you started a few years back, but now people who are watching who will watch this show, and people who are looking at your courses, and we talk a bit about your course as well. How a lot of people today will say, it's 2017, maybe when Sunny started and everybody else, it was still, there was not so much competition. How do we get started? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people.
I totally do. I mean, that's something that I get all the time is, but the funny thing is, like, when I started was not the ideal time, because at that point there were already a lot of people out there talking about marketing, talking about online business, talking about social media. So I had a ton of competition, but the best part about how I started my YouTube channel was that ignorance was bliss. I didn't do it trying to build a channel. I didn't do it trying to build a brand. I did it because I just wanted to create videos. It was fun for me and I wanted to help people. So I didn't even look. I didn't even do my research. And now whenever I tell people if they're going to start a channel, do your research beforehand just so you know like what's working and what's not. But I didn't do my research. I just went in blind and I didn't pay attention to anybody else in my space because I knew that I didn't want to do things like anybody else. I wanted to do it my own way. So I didn't want to be influenced by anything. So yeah, I know it's easy to get caught up in, oh my gosh, there's other people out there teaching social media. There's other people talking about hotel marketing. There's other people talking about all these things. Of course there are. There's millions of people in the world and millions of people on social media. So of course, there's going to be people using their voice to talk about what it is that they do, but it doesn't mean that you can't. And I think the big part of that is that there are very few people who are doing it right and are doing it in a way that's efficient right off the bat. So I think that's the big difference is educating yourself on how to do it the right way from the beginning so you don't get frustrated when you're not seeing results. And then being very efficient in your methods. So it's not like I'm posting 3 videos a week. I'm posting 1 video a week and I'm putting my everything into that one video so that I know I'm getting the most reach possible for it. And also when you're starting a channel or you're doing anything online and you're worried about the competition, I always say like kind of write down a list of what makes you you and what makes you unique and use that because nobody wants a cookie cutter and nobody wants you to imitate anybody else because that's not really your own success then. You have to be yourself. And I think that's been something that's been a common theme for me that's come up is that I just am me and no matter what I'm doing and I'm just my loud self in everything that I do. And, you know, sometimes I curse and sometimes I say things I shouldn't and that's just who I am. And so you're either going to like it or you're not. So I think it's understanding who you are as a person and having a very high level of self-awareness and using your unique differences to your advantage and then just really going for that moving forward and understanding that even if people are in your space talking about what you talk about, nobody in the world is you and nobody can talk about it or present it in the way that you can.
Perfect. So that comes from a lot of self-confidence that comes from, from various sources, family, upbringing, all of that. So I clearly see that happening there. Tell me, what about paid? We're in 2017 and people are like, you know what, there is competition. Everybody is trying to, it's easier with our phones and everything to go live on YouTube now and all of that. So there are more people coming into similar verticals. So if I want to get ahead of the competition, or if I want to get ahead of myself, let's not say competition, let's say we want to get ahead of ourselves. We want to be better versions of ourselves every week, every time that I put a new video. Would you suggest paid advertising on YouTube?
Paid advertising, so I have never done it. And I'm a big believer, and I know this is more of a long game than a short game, and I totally understand when people just want to hit the ground running and they want to grow faster. And paid advertising will get you there. But for me, I'm a big believer in pushing the needle one by one. So I believe in starting by providing value, and then whoever is supporting you from day one, building relationships with them, whether that's just by saying thank you or acknowledging their comment. That's what builds customers for life. That's what creates people who want to come back and talk to you. Anybody in the world can pay for advertising, and we've seen this happen. Anybody can position themselves as an expert. Anybody can put a buttload of money into paid advertising. It doesn't mean that what they're selling is good. Right. And sometimes it does. So for me, I'm a big believer in organic. I'm a big believer in building it from the ground up. And it doesn't have to take forever to do it if you're doing it the right way. So I think that's where I come back to educating yourself first before you dive into anything. And also being aware that there are no quick fixes. There is no product, nothing out there that's going to fix everything for you overnight. You have to do the work no matter what it is that you're doing.
That's so needed to be said. Because people think I either hire an agency or buy these 4 products and I'm done.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm still learning every day. So you have to love it, and you have to understand that the long game for me and why I do what I do, and what kind of drives me to to behave in the way that I do, which is, I hope, always with like a lot of ethics behind me and a good solid moral ground, is that I want to build a legacy. So 10, 20, 50 years from now, I would like people to say, Sunny always led with service. And that's what's going to keep people in your tribe. If you're constantly pushing things at them, it's not necessarily going to work for you in the long haul. So I think relevancy is a huge thing. And I have a mentor who is actually writing a book on that topic right now. So I do think being in front of people as much as possible is important, but I think you can do that organically as well, using all the different tools on social.
So tell me right now, are you as focused on Instagram and Facebook and other channels, or is it just YouTube for you?
No, I am. So I kind of say that about 75% of my time goes into YouTube because that is the only source of traffic that for me is evergreen and ongoing. Yeah. However, I'm now, I've focused on all the rest of the platforms the entire time. And I think that's been a differentiating factor for me. And what I teach my students is that you want to diversify your community. And so you have all these buckets of people that are engaged in what you're doing, and they're there to support you. So I'm very active on Instagram. I'm very active on Snapchat. I'm very active on Facebook, Twitter. I'm active everywhere. But the funny thing is I'm not on social media at all times. And I've figured out a way to do it in a way that it's working for me, even when I'm not working. So I am active everywhere, but I put the majority of my effort into YouTube, and that's kind of grown everything else as I've gone along. And I'm also really just focused on, with the other platforms, how to turn my followers and my subscribers and all those things into actual leads for the business, and doing it in a way that's very organic. So that's something that I'm testing and trying out right now. And I'm really excited because I actually have a new strategy I'm going to be coming out with in the fall, where for new entrepreneurs, people who are, just about to hit six figures, you're at a place where you don't necessarily have an ad budget to pay to play. And Facebook advertising is getting really expensive. And so giving them some sort of a tool for every platform to take each follower and turn them into a lead.
Nice.
So you're doing it organically, and you're not having to pay to play, and you're pushing the needle one by one. So yeah, I'm really excited to share that in a few months.
So tell me, so you build a list and you do a video, mm-hmm. and then you optimize the video, mm-hmm. and then you tell your list again that this is the video which is coming out. So to post a video every week, how much time do you spend on So now I'm really fortunate to have a team around me who's helping with all the different aspects of it. But when I was doing it by myself, which I did it by myself for basically the first year, it would take me about 3 hours a week once I got it down to a science. It would take me 3 hours a week to do all of the aspects of it, write the email, do the social post, upload it to YouTube, optimize it, do the keyword research, edit the video, shoot the video, all of the things that I did by myself. Pardon? You did the editing yourself as well?
I did for the first year, yeah. Now I have an editor, so that's been huge. But that's been the beauty of YouTube, is YouTube's grown my business to a place where I now have this team around me. So it's helped me stay consistent. But in the first year, I did everything on my own. And I got it to a place where, I was doing about 3 hours a week of getting the video completely set on all channels and ready to go.
Can I ask you how much time it took in just the optimization, researching the keywords? And am I correct to assume that this is what we've understood so far is you go to a BuzzSumo or you go to Quora and you see what are the how-to subjects that people are searching for, and then sort of frame your how-to lines accordingly.
Yes. Yeah, totally. So that's the first step, is really figuring out what the topics are in your space and actually paying attention to your frequently asked questions. That's what I kind of always go back to, is what are people asking you over and over and over again? And that's how my journey started on YouTube, because my clients were all asking me about live streaming. So I decided to make a video on it. So that's step one. And then you want to cross-reference that with actual data. So then you go to Google Keyword Planner and you see how much search volume is coming for that topic every month. And that will tell you if you actually have an audience for that topic and how you should phrase the title of your video to actually be found by those people. Right. So I always say research before you record. So when I'm talking about like my script writing process and how I pick the topics for my videos, the first thing I do is actually ask my community. So I have a group called the Be Your Own Boss Mastermind. And I go in there and I'll say, what do you guys want me to talk about in my next series of YouTube videos? And they always give me great feedback and great questions. So then I'll take those questions and I'll cross-reference them with the data, pick my 4 topics for the next month, write the scripts for them, and then shoot them in maybe a 2-hour window. So I shoot all 4 within 2 hours, and that's all it takes me every month.
Right.
And then each week we do the optimization, upload, newsletter, all that stuff.
Wow, that's pretty nailing it down to quite a science then.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
if I may ask you, what do you do with the rest of the time during the week? You've done your YouTube, so then you focus on other social media channels. How do you build your own? How do you grow your other businesses?
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely focus on the other social channels, but that's a pretty small portion of my day. The main thing that I focus in my business is business development. And I also do a lot of speaking engagements. So I'm traveling quite a bit to go speak. And then, pardon?
Do you work with an agent for that?
I do at this point. Yeah, I didn't in the beginning, but it's just gotten to a place where it's easier to have somebody else manage it for me because it does take up a lot of time. And I think the common theme here is that I don't like to waste time. So I'm at a place in my business where I'm trying to make everything as efficient as possible. So the other things that I spend my time on during the week is selling. And I mean, I think that's something, it sounds weird, but I see this a lot with my students. They forget that, yeah, you could have a brand. Yeah, you can build a following, but if you have nothing to sell, you don't have a business. So you have to figure out what it is that you're actually selling. What is your business? What's the purpose of your business? How are you helping people? How are you serving people? And how can you monetize that? And so we have 2 courses at the moment, one of which I know you have. And so we're continuously selling those. And then we're working on a new product coming up in the fall, which I'm really, really excited about. So yeah, it's a lot of creation and selling and business development.
I love that video that you did. I think you did a Facebook Live, and I was in between some consulting work myself. And at the cost of being slightly rude to the people I was with, I had my earphones on and this phone with me, and I was listening to that live where you were explaining to everybody what that course is going to be about. And it was done so beautifully that I had.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I could have.
Thank you.
I could have gotten in at 197 as well, but I just had to be one of those who got in at 97.
Thank you. I mean, that was actually so crazy. That was probably the most fun we've ever had launching a product because we told everyone, the first 25 people we're going to reward with the price tag $97 instead of $197. And we sold out in less than 30 seconds. And it was 25 spots in less than 30 seconds. So it was crazy. It was like people were buying concert tickets. It was, but we've really mastered, and like, not to toot our own horn, but I do believe that we've mastered the art of building momentum and buzz before we actually start selling something, so that when we do open the doors, people can't wait to buy it.
Right. And also because what I'll tell you from the first course that I bought from you, and obviously definitely not the last one, I had it was you basically, to a newbie like me, you basically gave us enough information on what could be there in that course, and all the how-tos were covered. And like I said, I'm running an agency with about 155 of us. We built it from ground up. But on my YouTube, I'm still very, very, I'm still a novice. So I needed to know, you had all the right keywords there. And so every how-to related to what I wanted. And I was like, I don't know when I'm going to have the time to view this, but I'm buying it right now for sure.
I'm so glad to hear that. That's great. And the funny thing is, when you do go through the course, you'll probably see that some of the verbiage that you used in wanting to learn about how to create courses are things that we used in our messaging. And that's really a big key, is that the more you listen to people, the better you're going to be able to sell, because you can use their words to sell your products. And then they have those moments of being like, oh my gosh, she's in my head. How did she do that? She's a psychic. Pardon?
It's not magic?
Yeah, it's not magic. It's not magic. It's actually a formula. So there's an element of magic, I guess. But yeah, it's a formula. So we've really been fortunate we've now launched 2 courses organically using Facebook Live and using the audience that we've built, a community of customers that we've built. And it's been just beyond our wildest dreams every time we've launched. So we wanted to teach other people how to do that. And I think it's really teaching new entrepreneurs that you don't necessarily have to pay to play. You don't necessarily have to break the bank. What you do need is a tribe around you that's willing to invest in you. And the only way to build that tribe is through generosity and creating value.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that even now in 2017, it's very, very, very possible for people to come up with ideas, keep an ear out for the sentiments of the clients, of their prospective clients, what they're looking for, and then put their head down and then consistently start doing YouTube, and you will someday reach, a substantial scale. You know what
Yes.
people struggling with is, and I talk about myself for sure as well. There's just so much to do in the day. You feel that you know what, either I do a video, I watch a Gary Vaynerchuk and I say I do a video every day for the next 365 days, do it for 5 days, get tired, stop everything, or just don't do anything at all. It's one end of the spectrum. It's either extreme. But you choose one comfortable spot, comfortable number what you are with, and you said, after you mastered it and got it to a science, it's just about 3 hours, and then just keep on doing it consistently.
And I swear that's the biggest key to success is consistency. And it's really being aware again of where you're at. So Gary Vaynerchuk has a massive agency behind him, and he has the ability, the resources, the team to be able to create every single day. New entrepreneurs don't have that. Yep. And I love Gary Vaynerchuk. I've been following him for a long time. I think what he does is great. But I think it's, again, going back to when you pay too much attention to the competition, or you compare yourself too much, then you think I should, and then you get paralyzed because it's too many things you should be doing. Right. So it's focusing on what works for you and doing that consistently and showing up consistently. That's what makes the biggest difference. And it's not a magic formula. It's a real legitimate formula that you just focus on one thing, focus on what works for you, and leverage that as much as you can.
Lovely. Sunny, tell us, what I've been noticing in the last 1 year is that I've been able to increase my own following to a certain extent. But because in the last 1 year, I focused more on work online, I've not been actually going out and shaking hands with the people in my tribe or my community. And I've seen that people who do both, they have larger brands and deeper engagement. So how much is offline still relevant to build a brand?
It's huge. It's so huge. But it's one of those things that, in my opinion, again, I think needs to happen organically. So I'm really happy when I go to speaking engagements and there's people in the audience who have been following me and I can actually connect with them face to face and have a real conversation with them. But the amazing thing about social media is that it really is no different. The online space is no different than the offline space. So I have relationships with people all over the world that I consider really close friends and really tight members of my tribe that I've never met in person. Yourself included.
I love that about this new world. It's unbelievable. I can be in my office, or I can be at home and connect with people from all over the world, interview them, talk to them, build relationships. And I mean, this happened in, I recently went to San Diego to have a couple of interviews and just a lot of fun, basically. And I was there for 4 days and it was a riot. I had so many dinners, lunches, breakfast, meetings and parties with friends, and none of them I'd ever met before I landed into San Diego. It was unbelievable.
Right. Yeah, and that's the incredible thing. Yeah, it's such a magical part of this is that you don't necessarily have to meet somebody in real life to have a connection with them. And social media is a vehicle for communication and for relationship building. So if you're using it in that way, you're building deep relationships with people all over the world, and those people want to support you. So I think a big, huge mistake that people make when it comes to social is thinking that it's a monologue and thinking that it's purely set up to sell. And it's not. It's about building relationships, building trust, and building a real connection with people so that when you do have something to sell, people want to buy from you because you've already established that relationship.
Right. Perfect. And so my last question would be, when would your next travels take you to India?
You know what? I want to come to India so bad, and I almost had a speaking engagement there in November, but it unfortunately didn't work out timing wise. But yeah, I've always wanted to come to India, so hopefully at some point.
You know what I'm going to do is that so what we're doing at Internet Moguls is we're putting together a tour of and it's called the Internet Moguls Tour, where 25 North American Internet Moguls are coming to India. We have a date and we have an itinerary. I'll send those to you. And I'll tell you who are, and you'll be very happy to see the list of people who've said yes for that tour. So everybody
Awesome.
they all take flights from wherever they are in different parts of the world. They all come into India at that one particular time, and then we take them all around India to speak at various startup communities and network with people, and and basically see the madness that is India.
Cool.
I'll send you that invite. I'd love to send you that invite. Have a look at it whenever you have a minute. We can connect again, and I'll tell you more about it. And
awesome.
So there's some very interesting people who've already said yes for that. And
awesome.
I was waiting to, I actually wanted to reach out to you about a month and a half back, but then I was waiting for this interview to happen. And, and then ask you about your thoughts for India. If you had said, no, you know what, I don't think I'm coming to India, it's too far.
No, a great part of what I do is that I get to travel a lot, and I've seen all these places that I never would be able to see otherwise, or probably just wouldn't even think to go and see otherwise. So I've always wanted to go to India, and yeah, if there's an opportunity, that sounds amazing.
It's a 24-hour flight. It's just, it's just...
it's just a quick trip. It's fine.
Tell me, how did you just, I think you recently said that you don't do client consulting anymore.
No, we have very few clients at this point. The majority of our business is through the courses.
Wow. So you see, so you're able to be more efficient with your time and the impact that you're making on more people with video.
Yeah. That's the beauty of online courses, is you can impact on a bigger scale. In the last year, we've served over 1,000 entrepreneurs, and there's no way that I could be able to do that just myself teaching people one-to-one. So it's just physically not possible. And there aren't enough hours in the day to do that. So I'm able to teach people all over the world and have them succeed in their own businesses by selling them these educational products.
Excellent. So, before we go, would you like to tell us about the most recent course that you have and where we can find it and what we can learn from that?
Yeah, my most recent post is probably one of my favorites ever. So we just surpassed 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I made a video called "My Letter for You," and it's basically So it's basically just it's a letter from me to you to remind you of the fact that you're capable of doing whatever you want to do, and when you put your mind to something, it will happen. So it's a really great video. I'm really proud of it, and that's the one that I would go check out. So that's on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Sunny Lenarduzzi, but you can also find it on my website and find everything else about me on my website, and it's just sunnylenarduzzi.com.
And would you like to tell us about the course that you've just launched?
Yeah, so we just launched Boss Course Blueprint, which is basically a masterclass that we hosted on how to create and launch your online course, your first online course. So we take you through every single step of the process, every single phase of it, and cover every little nitty-gritty detail so that you are set up by the end of it to actually sell your course.
Lovely. And we can find this on your website again?
Yeah, you can find it on my website. I believe it's under the resources tab. So, or work with me tab, sorry. So if you go under that, you'll be able to find a lot of my free offers. And we also have all of my paid offers as well under that tab.
Excellent. Sunny, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Apart from the many, many, many things that you've done, is that you have motivated me to go back right now. I'm sitting with my team right here, and everybody's doing this. So we're going to go back and start attacking YouTube again and show consistency for the next 1 year. And maybe do another show with you next year and say, this is what we built thanks to you.
Awesome. I love it. I love to hear that.
And we look forward to seeing you in India if I don't see you in Vancouver before that. And also what we're going to do is we have a nice frame that we made sketched for you. It's called, so like I said, every year we come up with a list of top 25 internet moguls. So we got that frame ready. It's in the Vancouver office. So I'll have somebody send it to your, I'll take the address from Dia and send it to you. And do let us
thank you.
Send us a picture with the frame when you get it, because
I will.
Made here in New Delhi, and then we sent it there. And
that's so cool.
It's been sitting there for a while. We wanted to send it to you at the right time. So I think now is the right time.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very excited to get it. I will for sure send you a picture.
Excellent, excellent. Once again, Sunny, thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you so much. Talk
Cheers.
to you soon.